Hello, princesses. Welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Today we are going to delve into my current favorite fragrances, from personal perfumes and colognes all the way through scented candles and room scents. We're also going to talk about how to choose the right fragrance for you. Not always as easy as it seems. How to store your fragrances so that they last a super long time, and even, surprisingly, how to apply and wear a fragrance. Again, something that's not necessarily as easy as it seems. But let's start with my current favorite lineup. So these are the perfumes and colognes that I am wearing the most frequently. It's not my entire collection, but it's my current favorites, and they change a little bit here and there with the seasons. Now, the one thing we're going to discuss is obviously perfumes and fragrances are very personal. So you're going to notice a lot of trends in the types of fragrances that I wear. I do like to smell a little bit like a child mixing Kool-Aid in the summer. I like those sugary, sweet fragrances and some of the warm florals. And you'll see that here in my selections. Obviously, they do definitely represent me. I have a few favorites also, which you'll notice. The first being Tom Ford fragrances. Tom Ford fragrances are not really what you'd call subtle, but they're innovative and very inventive. And we'll start with one of his latest ones, which is Bitter Peach. And I'm going to take it out here just so you can see it a little bit. Bitter Peach is, like I said, one of the newer ones. This is currently about $350 for this fellow right here. As the fragrances age and if they're real popular, he'll generally do smaller sizes, travel sizes, even candles. But right now it's fairly new, and it obviously does come out of this box here. This is, as you would think, a bitter peach. If you don't like the smell of fruity peach, you wouldn't like this. It's a very sweet, fruity fragrance. It has peach, also patchouli, blood orange. It is beautiful. I love it when you first put it on because it's a very strong smell of actual peach. It really does smell like a ripe peach. As it wears, it can get a little bit, I kind of like to reapply this one because on me, and fragrances not only have personal scents, they also react differently on different body types. So on me, this one can get a tad detergent-y by the end of the day. So it's one that I do like to reapply. But I mean, that initial scent, especially of really strong, ripe peach, is something that very much appeals to me, and I like it. Plus this orange, the orange bottle is just gorgeous. My favorite Tom Ford perfume is up next. I wonder if you could guess. It's Lost Cherry. Lost Cherry smells to me kind of like a chocolate cherry cream cake. It's absolutely gorgeous. I went everywhere to get this. I think I finally ordered it pre-pandemic from the Tom Ford store in New York. You couldn't get this anywhere. Now it's available not only in lipstick shades, but also smaller shades, and we'll talk about this in a little bit. Room scents, a candle. It is absolutely a beautiful fragrance. Like I said, it smells to me like a chocolate cherry sundae or cake. It's spicy and warm. It's got black cherry and almond and liqueur and Turkish rose. I think it wears beautifully. There's just simply nothing wrong with this fragrance, but it is that kind of chocolatey, coffee-y cherry liqueur. So you've got to like that scent, but again, I do go for those kind of sticky sweet fragrances. And 3 out of 4, I also love the Tom Ford Vanille Fatale. Vanilla Fatale, Fatal Vanilla. This is kind of a coffee scent, a vanilla scent. This is about $250, so it's about $100 less. Whereas Lost Cherry, you can get smaller ones now that go all the way up from like $75 to $475. This one is still only sold in the $250 size, which is a little bit less than some of his others. This is a very kind of strong coffee vanilla fragrance that I really, really enjoy. It goes on fairly powerfully, but it does mellow out, I think, to a really pretty, warm, sweet scent. We'll talk about this when we talk about applying and wearing. This is not a favorite one of my family, which means it's not quite used as much as I would like. I also have a much smaller size, which I'll take out here, of the Tom Ford Velvet Orchid, which I think is a really pretty travel size scent. And this can go anywhere from $49 for this size all the way up to $184 or so dollars. This is a floral fragrance, but it's very warm, orange, vanilla, honey, and rum. And I think just very pretty and sweet. And like I said, can go anywhere. When these fragrances get very popular, he makes lots of different sizes and prices. I will link and list all of these below in case any of these tickle your fancy and you want to try any of them. I'll make sure they're all linked below for you to get them in their various sizes and prices. But I can smell this one now that I opened it. It's just sweet and gentle and warm, and I love it. I have to give a nod to Saint Laurent fragrances, namely one of the most famous fragrances ever, which is Opium. I have a little travel size here of the Saint Laurent Black Opium. Black Opium. But this the whole Opium family from YSL is varied. There's like a neon one. There's the regular old-fashioned Opium. These are just really warm, musky. These are scents. Most of these scents actually that I'm showing you, especially the Tom Ford and the YSL, they can be worn on men or women, which is really nice and fun. They can be shared. They're just kind of a beautiful scent. And I've always liked Opium, and this is a different little version, the Black Opium. I love these smaller sizes because you don't feel so guilty buying them. They're much less expensive, and they don't last as long, and you don't feel so bad running through them. Whereas like this Bitter Peach, I feel like I have to be a lot more precious with because it's very expensive, and it's only sold in this larger size right now. You don't really want to bathe in it. Okay, another favorite of mine is Jo Malone. I don't know if you've ever gotten into Jo Malone. I keep my little fragrance up here with its little bow on it. My favorite Jo Malone is called the Nectarine Blossom and Honey Cologne. And I have a slightly smaller size. This guy you can get all the way from spend $36 on all the way up to about $142. This is supposed to remind you of Covent Garden in London in the morning when you go out. It's got cassis, nectarine blossom, honey, definitely peach again. I do favor that sweet, fruity scent. And it is just, to me, this is absolute heaven. Sensing the theme again of these very sweet, warm fragrances. I pretty much cannot find a Jo Malone fragrance that I do not like. They are gorgeous, and I love Jo Malone counters. If you've ever been to the Jo Malone counter at any of your favorite department stores, I know it's hard to get out there right now, but the setup and the way that you can sample, or right now they can do samples for you, is always so inviting. You can comment below if you agree, if you've experienced this. It's just such a lovely group of fragrances, home fragrances, candles. But Jo Malone, that Nectarine Blossom and Honey is my favorite kind of fruity floral, especially from Jo Malone. Let's move on to what no fragrance collection would be without, and that is some fragrances by Chanel. And we're going to start with Chanel No. 5. Chanel No. 5, of course, being the almost namesake fragrance of the brand. This is, Chanel No. 5 was invented in 1921, and it was redone to make it a bit more punchy in 1986, but it hasn't changed since 1986. It is kind of a powdery floral, and it was one of the first abstract fragrances ever invented. Abstract fragrance means that it smells pretty, but you can't put your finger on it. When you smell Bitter Peach, for instance, you're hitting the head with a James and the Giant Peach scent. Whereas this is a bit more abstract. It's definitely floral and definitely powdery. Now you're probably going to look at this and go, wow, Rebecca, you haven't used a lot of it. No, I haven't. I just think it's beautiful. I have a slightly smaller size, and I just love to look at it sitting in my bathroom area. For me also, and this is very common, scents are very personal. This is the smell of my paternal grandmother, my paternal grandparents lived in, may they rest in peace, lived in Midtown Manhattan, and I spent my summers with them and visited them often. And this was my grandmother's signature scent. And when I went into her coat closet and played with all her coats and tried things on and looked at all her handbags, they always smelled of Chanel No. 5. So it's not necessarily my favorite one to wear, but it does absolutely smell like my grandmother Rose. And I have that very diverse side to me. I have one side of me that were very poor working class immigrant, and the other side, which was kind of, you know, wealthier Manhattanites. So that's why I fall somewhere in the middle. But Chanel No. 5 definitely reminds me of my paternal grandmother. Speaking of Chanel, here's an interesting lighter fragrance from Chanel. This is a version of Coco Mademoiselle, which is a very, very famous Chanel scent. But this is the Coco Mademoiselle Private Water, the Le Privee pour la nuit, which means for nighttime use. And what this is a very, very gentle fragrance. It is meant to be put all over and to not be very overpowering and to wear off quickly. You are supposed to sleep in this fragrance. I do not, but I don't like powerful fragrances, so it's fine with me. So it's a very light version of Coco Mademoiselle and can be purchased anywhere from like $95 to $125. Let me go back to our Chanel No. 5, which is sold anywhere, you know, from like $82 to $138, all the way up to the actual big deal perfume that I think is sold by the ounce. Correct me if I'm wrong, but certainly weighed. Okay. If you want to go much more just kind of everyday, less expensive, I kind of like, and you might think I'm nuts here because it doesn't really go with my whole Tom Ford, Joe Malone, Chanel thing. I kind of like these little spring fragrances that Escada releases every year. This is Sorbetto Rosso and Miami Blossom. To me, these actually smell like a giant Jolly Rancher candy. Have you, if you are in America, you'll know what I mean. Do you guys have Jolly Rancher? Those hard candies, if you're outside of the United States, that smell just like, you know, like fake watermelon candy and these smell like a big Jolly Rancher candy. I like smelling like a big Jolly Rancher candy. So these are just sweet and fun. You'll probably be followed down the street by bees. I haven't been yet, but I'm sure it could happen. And they're just beautiful, fun, and much less expensive. And if you're like me and you kind of have a bit of a sweet tooth for your fragrances, I think you'll enjoy them too. Okay, let's go into home scents a little bit. And then we'll talk about some more things with fragrances. We got so much to cover. We're so busy. Candles. So as I mentioned, Tom Ford Lost Cherry was such a big deal that Tom Ford now has this Lost Cherry candle, which, my goodness, smells exactly like the perfume. How do they do that? And I'd have to be encouraged to burn this candle because it's just like I don't want to use it. I don't know what in the world I'm saving it for. It is delightful. This will fill your entire home. So you got to make sure that everybody likes Lost Cherry, but this will fill your entire home with a Lost Cherry scent, and it's beautiful. Do you like to light candles when you're in the bathtub? I do. I don't do it enough because I don't make time for myself at night for a relaxing bath. But when I do, I love Diptyque. There is a little, oh, somebody please tell me where it is if you know. There's a tiny little Diptyque boutique in Paris, and I can't remember where because it's been forever. There was a time we all used to travel, remember that? At any rate, I used to love to go in there and browse. It's very small shop, you know, you can't swing a cat, as they say, poor kitty cat. But I love to buy the little minis. I'll link some below in the different fragrances. I love the berry fragrance. I love the fig fragrance. And as you see, these are very well loved. I tend to buy these at Nordstrom when they have the yearly sale, the anniversary sale. I like to buy those, but they also sell them on a link below on the Diptyque site, and they sell them in 3, but you can also buy the larger candle. And of course, Diptyque does make actual cologne and perfume as well, but I really prefer them for room scents. And what I did most recently is I purchased, and believe it or not, more of this is used than it looks like, the fig fragrance in a home scent, a spray. What I like to do is I like to light a bunch of my candles in the bathroom when I'm getting ready or taking a bath, and turn off the light. And I also, in addition to lighting these, I like to give a few spritzes because this kind of intensifies the scent of the candle, and I really like that. And it lasts a long time, and you can put it in any room, and it's pungent enough. It's just a really, really, really beautiful room fragrance. So those my personal current favorites. I do have more colognes that I enjoy and perfumes, but these are the ones that I will be wearing any day on a daily basis. Let's talk about how to wear them and store them and choose them. First of all, how to wear a fragrance. I tend to wear personal fragrances. And by that, I mean not only that I like personally, but for me to smell personally. I do not like to give people notice that I'm entering the room. You know, you smell the fragrance and then the person comes in for a number of reasons. I am really sensitive to people's needs. And one of my first editorial jobs, a woman there had a horrible sensitivity and allergy to many floral perfumes and would get overwhelming migraines. We had to tell people, please do not wear that. I mean, she will get ill. And I've always really thought about that. Like, are you offending people's personal space with your personal fragrance? And so I tend to use fragrance very sparingly. I like to spray it in the air and walk through it. I like it to be just for me. I will spray it on my wrist, especially now that we're at home a lot. I will be known to sit and type. I'm a journalist, remember, so I do like to sit and type, and then I do like to do that. But I'll tell you, if you are fond of putting it on the pulse points, as they say, you know, behind the ears, the wrists, it is true, if you've heard this, you are not supposed to rub your wrists together. It breaks up the fragrance, it mixes it in with the oils of your skin, and it changes the fragrance and will change the beautiful top notes. So resist that urge. If you do want to spray it there, and behind your ears and stuff, just kind of let it air dry. It is absolutely true, if you have heard, you are not supposed to rub your wrists together. Did you know that? Let me know. Also, any other perfume application tips, leave them below, because there's some great ones out there, including that you can spray your hair, it'll stay in your hair, spray your coat, it will stay on your coat. You could smell like my grandmother's coat closet did with Chanel No. 5. How to store them. Here is a picture of how I store my fragrances. So take a look at this. They are all, as you notice, in the box. And I don't know if you can tell in that photo, they are also out of the sun. Also take a look at the fact that my fragrances also I have a lot of really fancy perfume bottles. That's a collection back from when I was in my teenage years that I have not disposed of. I haven't added to it, but I have perfume bottles from the 1800s. I have new ones and artistic ones and hand-blown glass, and I really love my perfume bottles. I really need to start adding to those actually, but I don't put perfume in them. And the thing about perfume is it's light sensitive. So I store these guys in their boxes out of light. Now, I have friends who say, I don't care. I am putting my beautiful perfumes out as they are so I can enjoy them come what may. Great. I don't want to have to replace them because they're pricey. So I do leave them boxed up and out of the sun. You will get a lot more wear and it won't change its consistency and scent. Perfumes can do that if exposed to air and sunlight. So please keep in mind, if you'd like to store them for longer out in the sun and in an opaque box, it's just true. And also closed up and capped really well too. Don't leave them uncapped. Perfume bottles are gorgeous, but if you do decant your perfumes and put them in there, you will shorten their lifespan. It's true. How to choose them? Well, there's no substitute when you are choosing a personal fragrance. There's no substitute for wearing it. You first need to sniff a bunch of them. Now, in the middle of a pandemic, it is very tough for most of us to get out to the stores, but those stores that are open, they're not quite as free with samples as we all used to be. But the sales associate will sample them for you either on a card or will spray you with it. What I recommend doing is either asking someone whose fragrance you like and starting there. People never mind you saying, my God, your fragrance is gorgeous. What are you wearing? Nobody minds that. It's so flattering. So it's great to start with something like that, or just to start with a scent that you like or something that reminds you of something that you love. And sniff them. But before you purchase, there's a few things you can do. Ask for a sample. If you find a store that's open, a sales associate can send you one. Can make one up for you. Many stores will also send them out. Experiment. Your freebies when you order from Sephora, try some fragrances. Put them on and wear them all day. Does the fragrance change? Do you get a headache? My test is when I'm typing away at work, do I keep stopping to smell my wrist? If I do, it means I really like it. If you feel you are running away from your fragrance all day, get that scent off of me, probably not the one for you. It's really pretty straightforward. It is very hard to kind of blind buy a fragrance. But once you get to know what you like, I can actually blind buy, which means, of course, purchase without smelling a fragrance now. It is very obvious what I like. Warm florals, coffees, vanillas, fruity scents, sweet things. I can pretty much blind buy a fragrance and be right. But if you're just starting out trying to locate what you like and what you don't like, it is pretty much imperative that you are able to experience it and wear it all day first. You will know within 2 hours whether that's the fragrance for you. But I would really love to hear your thoughts below. What are your favorite fragrances? Do you own any of these? Do you have any tips for how to apply or store your fragrances, or any warnings? Have you done something that just did not work out for you? I would love for you to share what you know below. All of my favorites are linked below in case that you want to look them up or try any of them for your shopping convenience. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe as it helps me grow and I certainly appreciate it. I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.